This is Wednesday, the 27th of January 2021. I'm going to make a film now of the A to Z of my Mare friends from the Irish National Stud. It's the A to Z of my Mare friends of the stud, who unfortunately I won't be able to see for at least a while, which is unfortunate. So I'm just going to give you a few updates on my friends and what they mean generally to me, what they generally mean to me, and my collection and my how and how we kind of connect with each other, and how we get on in general, and how I got it, and how we grew closer to each other, and how we kind of connected with each other. Let's say. So I won't have to wear my glasses to read the names, unfortunately, folks, because I'm not very good at reading without my glasses on. So I hope you don't mind. I have to see the names. I won't be able to see the names without my glasses on. Now, there's a first mare here now. Her name was Abergan Lass. Now, we first got introduced to her in February 27th, 2018, in Surgery 1. It's the week of the heavy snow. It was a week of the snow. It was the beginning of the bad week of the bad snow weather, and that was my first meeting with Abergan Lass. And it was lashing. It was actually, we got caught in a very, very, very heavy snow shower on that day, and it was actually snowing like mad on our meeting. I actually kept pronouncing her name wrong. I kept saying Abergan Lass, or I couldn't even say her name right. I wasn't able to pronounce her name right. It's the spelling of her name. You know, it's the way her name is spelled. She's got a very unusual spelling in her name, you see. It's actually spelled in very unusual. So it was very difficult to pronounce it. So it's spelled AIMHIORGIN, Abergan, and I kept saying Abergan. Oh, sorry, I said Abergan or Abergan or Origin or something like that. I think it's Abergan. I think it's Abergan. It's how it's pronounced. It's Abergan, and Lass is the second part of her name. She's a beautiful mare, gorgeous mare. She's a bay, and we didn't actually connect that much in 2018 at all. She wasn't exactly very sociable. I think it's the fact that I kept calling her name wrong. And halfway through the year, halfway into it, maybe as the months went on, I saw a staff member bringing her leader in, and I said, "How do you say her name?" Because I kept saying, no, because I wasn't just sure. I was saying to her, I wasn't just sure whether I was saying her name right. And I said, "How do you spell her name?" And she said, "Abergan Lass, Abergan." Oh, because I kept saying Abergan, so it's Abergan Lass. So I'll be calling her that. So I've been calling her name right then, ever since. So I saw her again in 2019, nearly 2 years ago. And funny enough, I saw her in the paddock, and the big huge paddock opposite Surgery 1 there. The big huge paddock there opposite Surgery 1, up by the Kildare yard. She was in the field there with her foal. And just in the centre of the field. She wasn't that far from me, so I was able to call out to her. I said, "Abergan Lass," and she came over. she actually came over. She thinks she came over because I called her name right. Because I called her name I called her by the right. I called her name. Because I called her the name right, and because I called her name right, you know. It's right way, you know. So it's probably because I said the name right, and that you know. Hold on, I've got to put another name down here. Another Mare friend I've got to put down here. Just sure how to below. Not too sure I spelled that right. Not too sure I spelled that right. But yeah, so she's the beautiful mare, Abergin. Now we're going to the next one now, and her name is Apple McFlurry. Apple McFlurry. Now she's the daughter of McFlurry. McFlurry. So there's mother and daughter, McFlurry and Apple McFlurry. Now, Apple McFlurry, she doesn't stay in the stud very long. She don't stay till maybe the beginning of maybe the one or two, but the first 2 months of the year, maybe the first 2 months of the year, first 2 or 3 months of the year, and then she'd be gone. There's a few foster mares in the stud. There's Apple McFlurry, there's McFlurry, they've Troytown Matty, whatever her name is, and so the 3 foster mares. Troytown Matty, I wouldn't put on my list because I didn't really have that much association with Troytown Matty, so I wouldn't really add her on my list. So I wasn't exactly very friendly with her. I wouldn't regard her as one of my closest mare friends, so I wouldn't add her on my list. But she was a lovely mare, but I wouldn't regard her as one of my as closest friends compared to all the rest of the names I have listed here. But because I don't know her as well as I know the rest of this, as I know Apple McFlurry and all of them other mares here. But Apple McFlurry, she's a lovely mare, but unfortunately she doesn't stay very long. Her mum, McFlurry, is Appaloosa. Oh, I forgot, Jesus, speaking of which, I forgot her mother's name. Yeah, I forgot to put her mum's name down. Yeah, that reminds me. Yeah, Apple McFlurry. Yeah, she's a chestnut. Her mother's a full Appaloosa. Her mum, and Apple McFlurry is not. She wouldn't really be full. She wouldn't be full thoroughbred. A full Appaloosa. She'd be more thoroughbred. She'd be part Appaloosa, kind of part Appaloosa. I mean, she may have a touch of Appaloosa in her, maybe a touch of her in her face, maybe a touch in her face. But she's a very, very big mare. She's actually a huge mare. Apple McFlurry. She's a chestnut. She's a chestnut mare. she's a chestnut mare. Her mum is a grey with black spots. She's a real Appaloosa. Her mum's a real Appaloosa. She's white with black spots, so she's more Appaloosa than her daughter. Time to take a drink. Yeah, but she's a lovely mare. I'm very fond of Apple McFlurry. Now, there's another mare here. Now, sadly, she was sold in Goffs there. I think it was last year or early last year. Sorry, it was early last year. Yeah, back in February, before we went back to stud for the new season. Back in February 8th, I think was the sale in the Goffs. The February 8th, she was sold in Goffs. Aglaya, and I kept calling her name wrong in the stud. I kept calling her Anglia. Funny enough, she actually responded to Anglia for some reason. She always seemed to respond to the name, even though it was actually the wrong name. You know, I was actually calling her Anglia for the 2 years that I knew her. For the 2 years that I knew her, I moved to 2017 right till 2019 or whatever it was, 2019. Yeah, because she was sold last year. So I knew her like nearly 2 years. So yeah, nearly 2 years I knew her. So so I was calling her the wrong name, even though I was calling her the wrong name. I think she had a kind of general idea that I was calling her. I think she kind of knew that I was kind of calling. I think she had kind of inkling that I was calling her, and she came over to me anyway because it sounded like her name, Anglia. You know, there's no N. You see, we went to Goffs for the sale for the foal but it called the bloodstock the mare and foal bloodstock sale, whatever it's called, the brood mare's bloodstock sale, whatever it's called, in Goffs, and Aglaia was listed on it, and Endless Expanse was there, was listed, and Endless Expanse and Aglaia were sold, and Grant to Butte was sold as well on the same day, but I'll talk about her in a while, but but I was gutted, and absolutely gutted that she was sold. She was the daughter of Invincible Spirit, by the way, and I didn't know that till 2018. I didn't know that till mid. I didn't know that till mid 2018 when they were doing a tour. They're going around the Mares and Foals, and we're doing a tour, and they happened to mention. So I wasn't a tour. Beg your pardon. We're looking around the mare stables. We're looking at the mare stables. We're going down the doors. I like to look down the doors to see all the details of the sire and the dam of the mares. And I looked under her name, and the sire had an Invincible Spirit on the door. So I said, "Oh my God, she's the daughter of Invincible." You never think so, because she was a grey. She was a grey horse, and so she's a beautiful horse. So she was a pretty gorgeous horse, and beautiful horse. She's more white, and she had a bit of a dark grey kind of mark on her back, kind of mark stain on her back, dark grey marking on her back. It's the centre of her back, but and that's how I was able to identify her, by that marking on her back. But it's a very, very funny story. I was talking to the viewers there, I think it was last season, yeah, we're at the Mares and Bowls, and I was with keep forgetting the names of the horses. I was with One Accord. There's another one I forgot to write down. With One Accord. I was with One Accord at the Mares and Folds, and Liam, we were talking about all the different stories about our experiences with the horses, with the mares and stuff, you know, and the times we met them, and before we used to look at the names, the labels on their tags and stuff like that, and I was talking about when we were looking back and old videos, and asking Liam asking him to look at the names and saying, "Oh, what's her name? Did you get her name on her tag? What's her name?" You know. And I was saying to the viewers, I never felt so embarrassed in my whole life. You see, that 2018, we're down at the Mares and Foals paddocks, and I saw Aglaia, and I was going on as if I never met her before. Like, I was asking Liam to look at her tag, and I totally forgot that I had really met her. I totally forgotten I had really met her. I met her a year previous. I met her a year previous to that. You see, I met her in 2017, and this is back in 2018. And we're down by the Mare. We were walking up from the Blanford yard, and we're walking up the Mares and Falls from the Blanford yard. So we're at the backboard part of the Mares and Falls at this stage, and we're at the paddock at the right hand side as you go up. And she was standing by the fence, standing by the fence with her foal. I can't remember who she covered with it that year. I can't remember who the foal was by that year, but and I knew it. I think I wasn't too sure at this stage whether I can't remember whether I don't know. I don't think I knew at this stage that she was a daughter of Invincible. And I asked Liam to look at her name, and he said Anglia. And it's thanks to him that it was actually his fault that I kept saying her name Anglia. That I kept saying Anglia. Sorry, not Anglia. Anglia. He said Anglia. So it's actually thanks to him that I kept saying her name wrong. It's actually his fault that I kept saying her name wrong. So it was thanks to him that I kept saying Anglia. And see, when we went to Goffs in February, we looked at the name beside her stable, and there was no N in her name. There's no N in her name at all. There's no N in her name at all now. So it's his fault that I kept saying her name wrong. But I couldn't believe it. I was actually laughing back at the field when at the video. I was actually laughing with embarrassment. I couldn't believe it. I actually knew this mare, and I was going on as if I never met her in my life. And I said, "What's her name?" He said, "Anglia." And then I was looking back at the video and I said, "Oh my God, what am I doing? I've met that mare already. I met her back in the. I met her down at the down by the Blanford yard at the end of June or July or June, end of June, I think, or June or July, one of the months anyway. I think it was the end of June. I think it was. I think it was the end of June, and with her foal. But I knew her earlier that year in the open stable back in March. But I don't remember the meeting. I don't remember that meeting then back in March. But I remember the later meeting back in the end of June up at the Blanford yard with her foal. Back in 2017, and a few days later after that, I was stopped calling out to the horses. So it was the 27th of June is the day that I remember meeting her down there, and it was the 27th of June that I met her down there at the Blanford yard. And this 2018 is the day that we were going up the Mares and Falls, and I said to him, "What's her name?" That's the name Mare I already knew. So I never felt so embarrassed in my whole entire life. So that's a real story for you, So so that's Aglaia. So Angel Spirit. Now I didn't know her very well now, at all now, to be honest with you. I only met her, unfortunately I only got to meet her once. But she's up in the Blanford yard. I think I met her 2017 as well. I don't think it was 2018 or 2019. We were only at the Blanford yard, I think, once in 2018. Not 2018. Yeah, once, because we didn't have that much success in 2018. We didn't have that much luck in 2018. We had more luck in 2019. We had more luck in 2019 and more luck in 2017. We didn't have that much luck at all in 2018. So it's 2017 that I met up with Angel Spirit. So you probably can guess with their name, with the word spirit in the name. It's she's the daughter of Invincible Spirit. So she's a lovely mare. I had a lovely time with her, and touch nervous at first, but then she kind of warmed into me. Then we connected, and we had a lovely interaction, lovely chat with her. She seemed very relaxed and very calm and very, she's very very, very gentle and very friendly mare. You know, very, very nice. She's lovely. Lovely character and very, you know, she's beautiful mare. She's a really nice personality, lovely character, and you know, so she's really very nice personality, and she's very, very gentle. You know, didn't bite, nothing like that. She's so gentle, and she seemed to ease into me very, very quickly, and she seemed very relaxed and not a bother on her whatsoever. I got some photograph. I think I got a photograph with her as well. Angel Spirit. So, and there's another one, Angel Bay, and we knew her, I think, in 2019. 2019, I didn't meet her last year because we didn't get near the Blackbird Yard last year. It was 2019 is when I met Angel Bay, and I had one interaction. There was one particular interaction I had with her, and it's the time I had a lovely interaction with Orchid for Alice, and I've chat about her in a while. But I went over and she was at the fence, and I had a lovely time with her for a while, and she was sucking on her foal, licking her foal and stuff like that. And then she was gone. Then after a while, she kept nipping at my coat, nipping at my jacket. Thankfully, my jacket was thick, so she wasn't able to get to my skin or bite my skin or hurt me or anything like that. But she kept nipping at my jacket, so I had to. So I said, "Oh, I think she's had enough." But I was able to stay with her for a while. I was able to stay with her for a while before that happened. So I had at least about 10 minutes with her before anything like that happened. So I had a nice good chat with her first before she started attacking my arm. So then okay, I better go over then. So I went over then to Orchid for Alice, and I had a chat with her instead. But it was nice, and I had met her once again again after that, another time after that, and so she was a very nice mare. And there's a lovely other mare that I love, that I absolutely loved, and unfortunately she wasn't at the stud last year, and Ashiana. She's a lovely chestnut mare too, lovely chestnut, and Ashiana, she's a beautiful mare. She went off halfway through the season 2019 to like a can to meet up and see the stars. When it was one of the days during